Hi, I'm Shannon. I'm here today to talk about my favorite client story. And it's definitely the story of Michael McCadden. And I love all my clients, but Michael McCadden holds a special place in my heart for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that he came to us and he had lost all of his money. He was a decorated Korean War veteran, had a pretty cool little import business, importing Italian ceramics, and he was just a really interesting person. He taught dance classes, he was charming, and when he came to us, what we didn't understand was where all of his money had gone. He had a trust that we could not see the actual trust, but when we finally were able to recover the trust, we learned that although he was the trust was in his name, he was not really a beneficiary of his own trust. And his daughter had taken control of all of his assets. In addition, the property that was purchased with his dollars in the name of his trust, he was no longer able to live in his own property. So it was pretty crazy. He had also lost some other real estate investments that he had made. So we had to litigate the case, and this predated the exploitation injunction statute. So we couldn't just walk into court and get an exploitation injunction, but we were able to start a criminal process, and we were also able to engage in that civil exploitation process. And after about 2 years of litigating, and after there was actually a change of plea, and so there was, the criminal case had been resolved, we were able to recover Mr. McCadden's money. Sadly, he had congestive heart failure, and he died shortly after we were able to recover his assets for him. But he was happy that we were able to do that. And I think one of the things that was particularly hard about that litigation is the health toll that it took on him to go through depositions and to be really without funds. Like, we had to apply for aid and attendance through the VA in order for him to even have enough money to live on. So we did his laundry. I remember one Christmas he was actually in the hospital at the VA, and I went to visit him, and he loved Dove bars. So we would always bring him a Dove bar whenever we would go and check on him. So yeah, that was a really tough case. And one of the things that Mr. McCadden made me promise him was to say, what happened to him, and to make people understand that exploitation is a real crime, and it affects real people. In fact, affects some of our most important people, our veterans. And so I've done that. And one of the things that it did prompt was the exploitation injunction statute that is now law today. I smile because it's one of the statutes that's near and dear to my heart. That statute really came into play during the time of Mr. McCadden's case. It actually became effective in July of 2017. And it's a statute that allows us to freeze assets, even freeze the assets of the exploiter, to bring the assets back to the victim in a very quick way. It happens in 15 days. So, we love the exploitation injunction statute, and the statute itself came out of a West Virginia proposed statute that was never enacted in West Virginia. But our little North Central Florida Senior Advocacy Network here in Gainesville started reviewing that statute, and then we adopted it in Florida, and we went to meet with some important legislators at the capital of Florida, and they were like, this is great, let's do it. And we were able to, in the first year that it was introduced, get that legislation to become law. And I wish it had been called Mr. McCadden's law, but it is his law, because it was one of the things that really prompted the elder law section to get involved. And I was the legislative chair of the section at that time, so it was easy for me to really start to push that law through, just because I knew how much it could have helped Mr. McCadden in his situation. So that's my favorite client story. I really love all of my clients. I love the peace and hopefully the security that we can bring to them as elder law attorneys. And yeah, that's what I have to share. Thanks.